President John Mahama presents 3,000 copies of the Holy Quran to Muslims in Accra. Christians mark first Sunday of the year with church activities. And EU officials threaten legal action against Poland's new controversial media law. Hello, good evening. You're live on your all news channel, GBC 24 and GTV. Time now for the news. My name is Akpene Avo Ajaja. At the Muslim Maulid, which marked the birthday of Prophet Muhammad, President John Mahama presented 3,000 copies of the Holy Quran to Muslims. While appealing to Muslims to mirror the virtues of the Holy Prophet, the president made his own pledge to uphold peace in the 2016 political season, as was the previous general elections. He said no political figure is bigger than the interests of the nation Ghana. Napoleon Atokito reports.
Space around the National Chief Imam's Fadama residence was fully covered as Muslims converged to mark the Maulid. In attendance were Zongo chiefs and senior clerics of the religion, drawn from all parts of Ghana. From midnight to the small hours of the night, they performed rituals in observance of Prophet Muhammad's birthday. The Prophet is a divine authority who is a conduit to Allah, the Muslim parlance for God. President John Mahama joined the Maulid, arriving there in the company of the Greater Accra regional and local government ministers. Sheikh Umar Nuhu Shaributu, the national chief imam, warmly welcomed the government entourage to the grounds. The president, who hails from the northern region, where the bulk of Muslims in Ghana originate, had his presence hailed by the crowd. There were strong speeches by Muslim clerics touching on the spiritual essence of the Holy Prophet Muhammad and the role of Muslims in nation building. Muslim chiefs assisted the chief imam to adorn the president with a long flowing dress commonly worn by Muslims. After this, the president stepped forward to deliver his speech, in which he deplored terrorism and urged all Muslims to avoid the act.
The two great religions, Christianity and Islam, and the traditional people of Ghana have lived in peace and harmony. And we must thank God for that. We must thank Allah for this peaceful coexistence. One of the most important tenets of all the religions is to love our brothers as ourselves. And so what can account for a situation where people want to wreak violence on other people?
He called for peace in Ghana's November presidential and parliamentary elections.
This year, 2016, is going to be the 7th time we go to elections since the advent of the 1992 Constitution. Nobody, none of us, politicians, is greater than Ghana. We will come and go, but Ghana will survive. And so, none of us has a right to wreak violence on this country. We must let the people make their choice.
The Maulid was attended by members of other political parties, all of which made donations. Napoleon Atukito, Fadama.
Today is the first Sunday of the year 2016, and across the country, Christians threw to their various churches to thank God for 2015 and to seek His blessings for 2016. Speakers of the gospel used the occasion to drum home messages of peace, unity, love, and forgiveness. Most importantly, the men of God hammered on the need for peace, as this year is a crunch one due to the national elections that will come off in November. To them, Ghana is all we have, and politicians and the ordinary Ghanaian must bear that in mind.
It is a special Sunday service to mark the beginning of the year. Christians were clad in their best dresses, perhaps a sign to thank God for what He has done and will do. At the North Kaneshie Presbyterian Church, the service was dubbed a celebration service. The district minister of the North Kanishi Presby Church, Reverend Philip Ananai, asked Ghanaians not to allow themselves to be used as agents of violence.
There's no reason to be afraid. We only have to be watchful and make sure that we as individuals become agents of peace, not agents of destruction, agents of the enemy. Don't allow the enemy to use you to cause mayhem. Be an agent of peace. Pray and cast your ballot wisely, and the Lord will enthrone a president, a new set of parliamentarians for us.
And at the St. Teresa's Catholic Church at North Kanishi, today coincided with the 50th anniversary. The parish priest, Reverend Father Johannes Mintamensa, asked Christians to spend their heaven doing good on earth.
A saint is an ordinary person who does ordinary things, but in an extraordinary manner. So you can be a cleaner. If you clean very well in an extraordinary way, you become a saint. You don't have to become great and strong. Not all of us can become presidents. Not all of us can become ministers. But wherever we find ourselves, whatever we do, we must do it in such a manner that we are spending our heaven here on earth doing good, so as to make this world a better place.
Other men of God did not mince words as they called for peace and service to God in this electioneering year.
Let us continue to trust the Lord that all will be well. The challenges that we went through, the Lord will take us through as He did for us last year. Since we are alive, let us keep on trusting, and He will meet us at our point of need.
We have to pray. We have to intercede. We have to love one another. We don't have to allow partisan politics to separate us. After all, we are one people.
If there's love, you will not go and do any crime. Even this year, as we are in the election year, with love, I don't think you have to go and fight somebody who is on the opposite side.
You have to show love, you have to unite and forgive, and then be patriotic. Have the nation as one country that we all belong to and serve. It will be well with us.
And the Lord has promised us that any weapon fashioned against us in 2016, it will not prosper. And any tongue that is raised against us to accuse us, the Lord God will nullify its effects in our lives. And so may the Lord bless each one of you and keep you. May the Lord make His face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord smile on you in 2016, and may He grant you peace.
Ghana is touted as a gateway to Africa due to the peace it enjoys. And to the men of God, this must be upheld at all times.
And in the Western region, the paramount chief of the Sikado traditional area, Nana Kwabena Nketia, and the president of the Wasamenfi Traditional Council have also advised Ghanaians to continue to cherish the peaceful atmosphere prevailing in the country and strive to consolidate it.
So be biara sa fie sanse radio shine let us think kwami moma nyina yin tuambo aso ne bi ho na ne ntiase bi omyemisa na afia ba choro enkoso nya krabehwe nimze se nyina chobe se koso be krabehwe a eno beboa ma wi ase fa nyina huzi an Ghana fo enimade ye.
I wish Ghanaians a very, very, very successful 2016. Let us show to ourselves, let us show to the world that we are one people, and no matter whatever the diversity is, we come together and reveal the harmony of our existence in the kente that we wear, in the smocks that we wear, in the religions that we have. Let our identity be seen within the whole world, that when you say the word Ghanaian, you're talking about a character of integrity, a character of truth, a character of honesty, a character of diligence, a character of a people who have a direction and have a sense of being. Afishiapa, Afinkombo to him.
Let's move to the northern part of the country now. Beneficiaries of the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty LEAP program will from this year receive their cash through the electronic payment system. This is to reduce the challenges associated with the manual payment system. In line with this, 250 computers and smartphones will be distributed to LEAP offices in beneficiary districts to facilitate quality service delivery. At an annual review of the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty LEAP program in Tamale, the acting director of the Department of Social Development at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Mrs. Comfort Asari, explained that the ministry introduced the electronic payment system following reports of challenges with the manual payment system. She said the LEAP program, which started in 2008 with beneficiary households of 1,654 in 21 districts, has now covered over 144,980 beneficiary households in 185 districts as at November 2015. Mrs. Asari said the department is striving to cover 200,000 beneficiary households by the first quarter of 2016.
My ministry will do all that it takes to ensure that this program is successfully implemented because it is so dear to my heart. I encourage you all to stay through the technical sessions and make your invaluable contributions to the deliberations.
The National LEAP Program Manager, Mr. Jigbodi Kofi Agbekponu, lauded development partners, including UNICEF and DFID, for supporting the program over the years. He said although the program has chalked up successes, it is facing several challenges, including limited staff and inadequate logistics. A research conducted by the University of Carolina and the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, indicates that LEAP has increased school enrollment among secondary school students by 7%. It has also reduced absenteeism by 10% among primary school children. Government has been urged to make a deliberate effort to include more widows and widowers in beneficiaries under the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty LEAP program in the Bonahafo area. A philanthropist and an official of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority in Sunyai, Mr. Kwame Apia, made this appeal during an annual donation to a widows group at Abesim near Sunyai.
The Abesim Widows Association was formed by its leader, Madam Mary Kunedu, in 2011. She was motivated by the plight of some of her fellow widows in Abesim and sought to alleviate their suffering by bringing them together to assist each other and make themselves visible to would-be benefactors. They meet once a month and also organize cleanup exercises in hospitals and other public places. It started out with 43 members and it now has 216 widows and 4 widowers. It later became known as the Kwame Apia Widows Association. About 100 widows from all over the Sunyai municipality joined them for the annual event. Mr. Kwame Apia stressed that widows continue to suffer partly due to lack of awareness of the intestate succession law. He laid the blame on some social norms as well as traditional and cultural practices. The leader of the widows, Madam Mary Kunedu, was thankful for the packages given and called for more help for the widows since there's a great deal of suffering among the widows, particularly the elderly ones.
The chiefs and people of Havre traditional area in the Afajato South district of the Volta region have honored the moderator of the General Assembly of the Evangelical Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Right Reverend Dr. Seth Senyo Gidi. The gesture was in recognition of his contribution towards the development of the area as well as his assistance to the aged. The paramount chief of Havre traditional area, Togbiga Asemchura, commended past moderators of the EP Church Ghana for demonstrating exemplary spirit of humility, modesty and integrity and for establishing a favorable relationship with the traditional authorities. It's all the news live on your news channel GBC 24 and GTV. They come in tiny rectangular shapes packaged in mostly white paper which is more or less found in brand new shoes or its packages, bags and suitcase. Various brands of new goods purchased or unbroken. These are known as silica gels. Interestingly, most people dispose of these packets because it usually bears this warning for the user, quote, "Do not eat the content," and quote. Its common benefit is to control humidity to avoid spoilage or degradation of goods. But have you thought of the need to keep these tiny packets at home and benefit from it? GBC 24 takes you through some of the benefits of silica gel packets.
Silica gel is a naturally occurring mineral that is purified and processed into either granular or beaded form. It is tough and hard and more solid than common household gels like gelatin or agar. Silica gel is most commonly encountered in everyday life as beads in a small paper packet. Its common use as a desiccant is to control common humidity and avoid spoilage or degradation of some goods. These little packets of silica gel are found in all sorts of products like leather products, glass, plastics, bags and shoes. By placing this in the product, moisture is controlled, growth of mold is limited and spoilage is reduced. Due to the fact that silica gel can have added chemical indicators and absorbs moisture very well, there are a surprising number of uses for those tiny packets. Silica gels are mostly beneficial in anything that will be affected by excess moisture or condensation. It is very effective in keeping electronic gadgets safe from condensation, which might damage the electronics. It is one smart way of recovering your cell phone from water damage after it accidentally drops in water. This can be possible if the phone is quickly taken out of the water, dried off, and SIM card removed. It can be placed in an airtight Ziploc disposable bag filled with silica gel packets and left for a few days to scientifically take out the moisture, and you could get your phone working again if done correctly. To keep important documents safe, such as birth certificates and, for example, those stored in files in a desk, cabinet or box, you can add a few packets of silica gel to keep them protected. Ornaments or jewelry are well protected in silica gels to prevent them from discoloring. To help preserve your Christmas cards and decorations, keeping silica gel packets in your Christmas boxes is a smart way to keep them safe. It is said to prevent plant seeds from moisture in preservation. A few packs of silica gels in your camera bag will preserve your camera equipment dry. It can also be used to prevent tools from oxidizing. A dry razor stored in a sealed container filled with silica gel will keep your razor from dulling out too soon. During Harmattan, placing a silica gel on top of your dashboard will keep fog away. A few pieces of silica gel in a makeup bag, traveling bags or suitcases keep bacteria and moisture away. GBC 24 was in town to find out what people do with their silica gel packets.
I tell my customers that it's poisonous, so it should be kept away from children.
We know it keeps insects from destroying the bags.
Remember the caution: silica gel must not be consumed. So next time you find these tiny packets in your new goods, you can try to make good use of it. But be careful.
This is the news live on your news channel, GBC 24. We'll be right back with some foreign stories. Don't go away. Welcome back. In some international stories, a senior EU official has threatened legal action against Poland's new conservative government over its controversial media law. The EU Commissioner for the Digital Economy said There are solid grounds for them to activate the rule of law mechanism and put Warsaw under monitoring. Polish MPs have approved a law giving the government direct control over top appointments in public broadcasting. Critics say it undermines free speech. In an interview, the EU Commissioner said he will raise the Polish media law issue at a meeting of the Commission on the 13th of January. Under the EU's rule of law mechanism adopted last year, the Commission can escalate pressure on a member state to amend any measure that is considered a systemic threat to fundamental EU values. Israeli prosecutors have charged 2 suspects over an arson attack on a Palestinian family's home in the West Bank last year that killed 3. Amiram Ben Oliet, 21, has been charged with murder, and a second suspect, a youth, as an accessory to murder. At least 2 others have been charged over attacks on Palestinians. The killing of Said and Riham Dawabsha and their 18-month-old son Ali in the village of Duma last July sparked international condemnation. Another son, 4-year-old Ahmed, is still being treated for his wounds. The Dawabsha family were sleeping in their home when it was firebombed early on 31st July, and it was dubbed with slogans in Hebrew, including the word revenge. At least 12 members of the Iraqi security forces have been killed in a suicide bomb attack on the former U.S. base of Camp Speicher outside Tikrit. There were reports of about 5 bombers at the camp's western gates. So-called Islamic State IS said it carried out the attack. Most of the dead were police recruits. The attack comes as IS continued to counterattack on the edges of the city of Ramadi a week after it was recaptured by Iraqi troops. Reports say there has been heavy fighting in the central and northeastern district of the city, and the Iraqi forces have been taking casualties. The Iraqi government said a week ago that it had liberated Ramadi from IS. The jihadist group had held the city since May. We'll be back shortly with some sports stories. Don't go away. In sports, Manchester United striker Rooney rose to 2nd place on the all-time Premier League scoring list with a clever winner against Swansea City. The England captain ended a run of 553 minutes without a goal for his club. And thank you, Felicity, for that update on the weather. To end the news, the main points again. President John Mahama has presented 3,000 copies of the Holy Quran to Muslims at the Muslim Maulid, which marks the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. The president appealed to Muslims to mirror the virtues of the Holy Prophet, and he pledged to uphold peace in the 2016 political season. Christians today marked the first Sunday of the year with church activities. Speakers of the gospel drummed home messages of peace, unity, love, and forgiveness. They also hammered the need for peace as the nation goes to the polls in November. And in Poland, a senior EU official has threatened legal action against the country's new controversial government over its controversial media law. Polish MPs have approved a law giving the government direct control over top appointments in public broadcasting. And that's how we end the news for now. We'll be back at 10:30 with news tonight. But coming up shortly is Talking Points, and we will be discussing New Year resolutions. Please stay with us.